To me, it kind of looked like an apocalyptic horror film. It was crazy.
Large trees unearthed and toppled, rooftops stripped of their shingles.
It was a big swirl. It was just like in Oklahoma, you see like on Wizard of Oz, you know.
Kenny Cassidy has lived in the neighborhood for 29 years and says he's never seen anything like it.
Then all of a sudden you just seen flames, like a wall of flames. And then there are sheets of metal flying around like 200 feet in the air.
It was a firestorm.
One firefighter, he's been with CAL FIRE for 16 years now, tells me he has never seen an incident like they saw last night. Radar, according to the National Weather Service, was picking up a large amount of rotation as heat was rising up from this intense inferno here last night.
These more intense, larger fires are starting to become the new normal here in California. These more intense, larger fires are starting to become the new normal here in California. More intense, larger fires are starting more intense, larger fires are starting to become the new normal here in California.
And Keswick Road brings us to a pretty incredible point in this story. This is Keswick Dam on the Sacramento River. How close did the fire come to this structure? Well, it burned right up to the parking lot that sits right beside it. And just over here on the north side of the bridge, you can see where the fire crept up to the river, jumped across, and kept burning east.
Yeah, never in my wildest, I knew wildfires are a major danger here, but as far as this goes, I've never thought in a million years this would happen.
We're seeing these fires grow bigger, they're more severe, and they're impacting more communities throughout the state.
When the fire blew through here, witnesses say it was ferocious. It wiped out just about everything. You can see home after home after home just burned to the ground.
It's like a war zone. It's just like a bomb just hit each house and just exploded. It's like a war zone. It's just like a bomb just hit each house and just exploded.
This fire is unpredictable. It's going in many, many different directions, and it's very hard to predict.
And thank goodness that your family members, and you are okay. But talk to me about what this is like now. You usually respond, and you're continuing to responding to emergencies, but now you are, straddling both those worlds. Now that you all have been victimized like this, describe for me, if you can, what this feels like for you.
Well, of course, we signed up to continue working through disasters. So my family has good support here.
So everybody is like, you remember in Godfather 1? When the old Don died and Michael took over, and everybody wasn't quite aware of Michael's sagacity, tenacity, and desire to kill his enemies. And when the heads of all the 5 families were wiped out, that's when you saw everybody coming, kissing his ring. the new dawn had been born. Ring. Ring.
And we found these little guys popping up. You can see it right in here. And another one right over here. These are called harp rings, folks. Very strange. I don't know what kind of rain clouds all of a sudden make circular targeted shape patterns and then quickly disappear. Quite strange.
With these, what I refer to as harp rings, they don't have to be coming out of harp. In Alaska, there are many harp stations now. Nexrad.
So when you make manifest her gift, people hear it say, I never heard anything quite like that before. Wow, this is great. Get known. Never seen anybody, play ball like Michael. I mean, his predecessor, Dr. J, was wonderful. And after Dr. J retired, we never thought we'd see someone like that again, but we just keep producing, greatness out of our ranks. So Michael can go up under the basket, jump up, scoop, and then, change hands in midair and dunk. Does all those wonderful things. So everybody's talking about Michael because he does something different. That's how you get known. Some of us want to get known so bad we get strange. We'll wear shoes that are 16 feet tall. I've seen people carry tables in their jaw. Every people have received somebody from the God that has guided them, taught them, warned them, united them, purified them.
And 50% almost said, we think it's a good verdict. They have done nothing wrong. This good verdict that's good for nothing except creating chaos, treating us against each other, causing us to hate one another. Good for nothing. Good for nothing.
Pastor Murray and the church's activism was indispensable.
Every 4 minutes of fire, my goodness, fires don't move on CPT. And we don't live up there, we work up there. And we don't live up there, we work up there. We didn't set all of those fires. All right. Yeah. When the record is clear, maybe it will show we didn't set most of those fires.
So sad to think about. People are actually losing their homes. Think about that. You go home every day. So sad to think about. People are actually losing their homes. Think about that. You go home every day. You might take it for granted that they just go to your home. And now these people, handful of them, won't have a home to go to. They left their home thinking they're under mandatory
The State Operations Center remains activated. Some evacuated residents, though, are anxiously waiting to be allowed back into their neighborhoods. As they do, risks still remain.
From the fire and the damage that it's caused, we want to encourage them to, number one, drive at a slow speed, but also to have a high visual horizon.
Ask yourselves, what are you doing in this time?
The roadways have been affected. The fire has caused damage to the road, so if they're looking ahead, they can see potential damage that's approaching them.
Be sure when re-entering, do so with caution. The fires have caused considerable damage not only to homes, but also to roads, power lines, and have loosened debris.
There's going to be intersections that are missing signs. The stoplights might not be working, so they need to proceed with caution as they enter into the area. And there's also the potential that utility poles that are still standing could have been weakened by the fire, and those are just some of the things that they need to think about. And there's also the potential that utility poles that are still standing could have been weakened by the fire, and those are just some of the things that they need to think about. So they need to proceed with caution as they entered into the area. And there's also the potential that utility poles that are still standing could have been weakened by the fire, and those are just some of the things that they need to think about.
What conditions we saw on the Thursday night here in Redding kind of are what people are calling a weather phenomenon or an anomaly, where an actual possible vortex came through here. And that's literally fire behavior that we have not experienced or seen or witnessed in a generation here in Northern California. And unfortunately, it tears at firefighters' hearts to obviously have any loss of life or injuries. I've heard stories of firefighters bringing family members out and having the windows of their car explode from the conditions that were out there. So I've heard stories of firefighters bringing family members out and having the windows of their car explode from the conditions that were out there. So the number one priority for us is always getting people out as quickly as possible. So these firefighters are using a large deck gun to cool this structure down. And this is one of many commercial and industrial structures that are burning right now in the northern part of Santa Rosa.
And then can you give us an idea of where else we're seeing some active fires right now that CAL FIRE is really focusing on?
Yeah, so the fire's still pushing into the city of Santa Rosa, both in the north and kind of east side of the city. So there's still some pretty significant wind gusts up in the hill and coming down. So everywhere along the 101 corridor, basically North Santa Rosa, is being impacted still by this fire. It still is very dynamic and very active, as you can see.
What are we seeing and hearing right here?
Yeah, so you're seeing some sort of material ignite and burn in there. You're getting a lot of materials that are vaporizing and combusting, gas lines, different materials they may store in the structure, and obviously some explosions occurring as well.
Are we in danger right here? Do we need to start thinking about moving back based on this?
Good time to end the interview and step back for a second.
Okay, so guys, sorry about that. We are going to have to actually move our position.
And when I was moving out, I was with my wife, drove by around my shop. I saw my truck was already fire, and fire was not coming even close to the building yet. And fire was not coming even close to the building yet. And when I was moving out, I was with my wife, drove by around my shop. I saw my truck was already fire.
I don't know if this is even safe to drive through, man.
just straight caught on fire. The road's on fire and shit. I know. Tree. God, dude. This shit just straight caught on fire. The road's on fire and shit. I know. You're gonna have to cut to the left. That's all. Open the gate. Open the gate. I can't breathe. We're gonna fucking die, dude. We gotta get out of here. Well, at least a tree. Dude, this started at Natty Branch. We're going the wrong way. What? If we can make it to the Welcome Center. It's okay, Red. They're not even trying to put this shit out. No warning, nothing. Not one single warning on the news. And you're telling me nobody knew almost every cabin in Chalet Village is burning to the freaking ground. It's okay, babe. Come here. I know your eyes are burning. Oh, God, it was a beautiful cabin, too. Not now. Hit the gas. Hit the fuck out of here. Please, Lord, let us get off this mountain. Oh, shit. Go, go, go. We don't need a flat right here. Oh, fucking tree.
At my neighbor's house. So, this is my neighbor's house with the big, it's down to trees.
Ammo. I'm trying to stick with Camp Porter here. You see an American flag right here burning at the corner of this neighborhood. These houses are completely gone. Just on the other side of here are homes that have not been yet touched by fire. The wind is blowing the opposite direction. You see the American flag here.
Is that a wind shift?
It's a wind shift going which way? Which direction? East? What is that popping?
Those are propane tanks. You know, like the 5-gallon propane tanks?
5-gallon propane tanks for camping. Don't get too close, Cat. Don't get too close. I can't get in there, it's too hot. This is oh. What was that? That looks like a gas. Hey, Cat, that's a gas line.
And you can't see where you're going, and all of a sudden you get enveloped in smoke. It makes things really tough up here. It's incredibly bad conditions up here. Across the road, and you can't see where you're going, and all of a sudden you get enveloped in smoke. It makes things.
Is this clear? This isn't the address. I thought you were somebody else. That's right.
This is Kmart in northwest Santa Rosa, up in flames. Smoke and fire all around me. Almost every house.
The north end of Nelligan, they can't get out to Nutton Canyon due to a tree blocking and fire in the roadway. Help at the Shiloh Ridge. Copy, negative, help at Shiloh Ridge. Do we need more help in the Westfield neighborhood?
The same spot, Tom?
No, we moved, and you got to see this to believe this. I'm going to have Martin pan up to the left. You're looking at a neighborhood that goes block after block after block that is completely and totally and overwhelmingly destroyed. You rarely see anything like this. It's called Coffee Park. It's a part of Santa Rosa, not far from the freeway, and this place is just destroyed. There's really almost nothing left. We have some people walking up and down, some of them seeing their houses for the first time, breaking into tears and just having a god-awful time. Now, if you come back around this way, Martin, what I want to do is kind of give people again the scape here. Look at the scope of this thing. This is so hard to believe because this was, 24 hours ago, this was a neighborhood. There are garbage cans out in the street waiting for pickup. There are cars that were here that people simply didn't have enough people to drive away. And you're looking at a scene that is probably reminiscent of hell, that has a for sale sign. And that house was for sale. It's not even a house anymore. And we're seeing this literally every place you look.
And as you can see behind me, the Hilton Wine Country Hotel is actually engulfed in flames right now. You can see the fence is on fire, and behind that, what we think used to be the restaurant here at the Hilton. What's really interesting is, as we've been standing here, we can not only feel the heat from these flames, we're having the debris and the ash come rain down on us because we are so close to this fire, but then also we're hearing these loud booms from inside. It's as this fire continues to burn, and the eeriest part about this is there is not a firefighter in sight. We have not heard a siren, we have not seen a fire truck, nothing. And that is exactly like what we've been talking about all morning. These firefighters are trying to save people's lives.
It's a very trying time. And we heard one story that I had never heard before. And that is that one home, he goes back to his home, I'd never heard before. And that is that one home, he goes back to his home and he sees that his outbuilding had a trailer that was gone. And the flames were just starting to get onto the main part of his house. And he and neighbors doused it with bottled water. They all got around, they raided their garages and refrigerators and were pouring bottled water on it, and it worked. It saved the home. He said that had he gone there 2 or 3 minutes later, it would have been too late. This could reignite, and the homes that are safe now may be in trouble by later tonight. So it's a very precarious situation here in Santa Rosa, Frank.
Rob, I remember that you covered the Oakland Hills firestorm, and as I recall, a firefighter essentially told you to get out at one point and may have ended up saving your life. Compare the Oakland Hills firestorm to what you're seeing there.
Well, the Oakland Hills firestorm spread through these huge gusts of wind. It also happened during the daytime. This seemed to be overnight. So, and I think it was a bit of an advantage, at least, to have daylight, so that people aren't, being awoken out of their sleep to evacuate. There's other issues though with the Oakland Hills fire. The roads, there were narrow roads, and anyway, the areas were just so spread out that firefighters who had their hands full couldn't quite, get everywhere. And you see evidence of it because neighbors were telling us that they got their garden hoses and watered things down. And like that. So I think this seems to be more spread out in pockets, whereas the Oakland Fire Service is this huge swath of much of Oakland and Berkeley. So I guess that's the difference. But when you lose your home, whether it's one of the biggest firestorms of the century or something else, a loss is a loss, and these people are just beside themselves. It's anguish, and no one sort of sensed this was really coming.
Rob, is that whole area
just seemed out of the blue?
Is that whole area evacuated, or
the area where we are now, where this hotel area, no one's around. I think they were just hotel guests, and it isn't so much for them the hard part. The hard part is just not knowing where this is all going to end up.
Rob, as I sort of look over your shoulder, it appears as though there is at least one home that is still standing. Can you bring our viewers and myself up to date? As it appears as though there is at least one home that is still standing. Can you bring our viewers and myself up to date as we're just now? There is at least one home that is still standing. Can you bring our viewers and myself up to date as we're just now are joining you? Is the entire area destroyed, or is that right? Is that in fact a home behind you? I can see a vehicle parked outside of it. Is that in fact a home that's still standing? Oh no, I see the flames now.
No. What you're looking at is part of the hotel.
In your time, Chief, have you ever seen a fire like this?
Nothing like this. I've been to a lot of fires, both in the city and outside of the city, and nothing compares to what we saw that night.
Reported, hurricane force winds, fire tornadoes in the Covey Park area. There were things that really shocked us the next morning. Look, fire tornadoes in the Covey Park area. There were things that really shocked us the next morning looking at that, where there was a vehicle upside down, 100 feet into Covey Park.
Это уже жесть. Назад. Сейчас какое-нибудь дерево еб. Блин, я не знаю, куда ехать.
Вот, давай, сейчас выйдем.
Я с вами
не выйдем, стой. Стой. Обратно.
Да на машине. Иди, дура, блин. Давай назад, сука!
Назад!
Я не вижу.
Says he watched the flames engulf the property using a security camera app on his phone.
In fact, where I'm standing right now is the path the grapes used to take before they headed into this burned out building where the wine used to be made. Few structures at the Paradise Ridge Winery survived.
Is quite overwhelming.
And the reason is because big flames, the big heat that we feel that produces the pain that impresses us is not necessarily related to what it takes to ignite the structure. Our perspective is from our pain and injury, not from the requirements for combustion.
98% of all wildfires are caused by people, but it is still not clear what caused this one.
My friend.
There were reports of very windy weather down
from a distance, giving you an idea of that fire, and you can see, it looks to be the case. Ginny showed us the windmill that was blowing at a high rate of speed, and Ginny's trying to put this out with her feet,
I know.
stomping on this.
We just want to make sure that Ginny's safe,
Absolutely.
because this can catch and suddenly, rapidly, just to start to explode.
I believe I'm one street north of all here, and there's embers starting to fly. You can see this is right below my feet. There was a guy out here just a little while ago trying to put these wood chips out, but they're flaring up again. Check out this, Jason. This windmill here has this guy's house. It's all over the place. It's pointing all over the place. What's weird, Jason, behind me, I can see some blue sky right up there, but it's quickly being covered by all this black smoke. There are fire units up there. I know they're doing the best they can for structure protection, but this is a tough one, Jason.
Yeah, you mentioned structure protection. That is taking a backseat to lives and saving them right now at that point. You see those little embers, those little pieces of mulch on fire, and that's how a home will catch fire. It gets right into the attic, and suddenly a home is up in flames just like that. So keep an eye out for that. Watch out for yourself. The yelling, I would imagine, has to be neighbors looking out for neighbors, perhaps firefighters, trying to get people out, because saving lives is the #1 priority at this point.
Yeah, Ginny, please, you need to be careful. As you know, those embers, it doesn't take much for those to catch fire with some of the dry brush here. And take a look, you can see this is how dangerous this is. When the winds pick up and the embers start to fly, they catch anywhere where there's something dry enough to burn, and you can see flames already erupting on the house there, the street where Ginny is. This is just by all of you, south of the inn. This is not the kind of thing you want to see that thing. And there's embers starting to fly. You see, this is right below my feet. There was a guy out here just a little while ago trying to put these wood chips out, but they're flaring up again. It's all over the place. It's pointing all over the place.
My heart honestly goes out to the victims of these fires. This is not global warming. It's global warning, and millions of people were telling you guys about it. What you're witnessing is act of God. And I feel for them, and I have had 3 major fires. When I was 7 years old, I was in Wisconsin just after my birthday, and my older brother had a party, and everything I owned burned down. On July 2nd of 2000, I had electrical fire in my room and lost everything I owned, and that one really, really hit me hard. changed my life, altered my life. And then, that was weird. Then I was living up here with my folks and woke up in the middle of the night. No one believed me at the time. That's why I play so many videos of these fires, where although nothing was near it, I was in my bed, in the middle of my room, the chair, plastic chair, was on fire. No clothes, no tissues, no paper. I was so stunned, I got up quickly, but not panically, knowing, I don't know what the hell that was going on. And I got the fire. By the time I came back into my room, the entire thing was an entire furnace in 5 seconds. And my parents were convinced I started it, etc., etc. And they had 2 investigators from the insurance and 1 from the fire department. They all determined that I was definitely not at fault, but all they could determine was that some electrical arc had come out of the center of the floor, which I did not have access to because of all the things that were piled in my room. That is the actual report. That's all I can tell you. So I'm not a stranger to this. I'm not poking fun. I'm not, saying, hey, look, fire's fun. I'm a pyro. That's not the case. I played with fireworks when I was a kid. That's about it. I'm pointing out that this is the best proof you have that God is for real. And when I say for real, I mean that in every way you can think of. So, and people who have prayed in front of their houses and stayed and had faith, they have not died and they have saved their houses. If you have noticed, some of this footage seems so incredible. You're wondering, well, why aren't the guys getting burned? How are these guys able to film that? Well, again, if you have faith, it's so amazing. God will protect you from anything. When God's in you, nothing can destroy you. That's the big message. So, when you look up there, yeah, there's aliens, but aliens have a God also. All right, so save your science, because science can't explain this. And in a way, that's kind of what God's trying to prove to you. God gave you science. Don't use science to prove that there is no God. Love you all. Peace.